Welcome, everyone, to KHM Today, your weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. I'm your host, Carolyn Orff, and today is April 19th, 2023. As we mentioned the last few weeks with the show, it is Autism Awareness Month and National Pickleball Month. And I don't know about you guys, but do you ever sit down at your computer and all of a sudden things just start popping about things you've been talking about, not necessarily like searching for? Well, that happened to me today as I was preparing the show for you guys, and it was the craziest thing. I was looking for things that were happening this weekend in Grand Lake where I'm heading this weekend. And sure enough, an autism walk popped up. Then I look at my email and there's a new issue of Travel Weekly, and they're talking about pickleboard on board river cruise ships. So it just felt so weird. And I just felt like the stars were aligning and it was all coming together this week. So it was just crazy. Anyways, I hope so many of you are enjoying Cruise 360. And this week, we also have some amazing agents on board Scenic Eclipse. So I can't wait to hear about all the fun they're having. I've loved the pictures and everything they're learning about expedition cruising. Hope you guys will put your comments in the public chat here so I know that you're with us today. But you guys, the month of April to me speaks of spring, new beginnings, and spring has sprung. And we are excited to bring this guest on with us today because there are so many new and exciting things happening with Viking Cruises. So please welcome Tresa Reed, Director of Business Development for Viking Cruises. Welcome, Tresa.
Thank you, Carolyn, for having me on today. We are so excited too. And what happened to first quarter?
I know.
It's
I
cool. We're
know.
in the second
I
quarter
don't know
already.
what happened. Well, and we thank you so much. I know that you are in the middle of massive cruise nights. And so you're in between these two big events. And so we can't thank you enough for spending time with us today and making room for us in your busy, busy schedule. But are you just overwhelmed by the number of new things that are happening at Viking?
Yes, it is really amazing. And I don't know if you heard, but we rolled out the new and launched our Viking Academy again.
I did, and the reason I know that so well is not only because I looked personally, but agents are posting that they have completed this training. And I did it a few years ago, so I need to go back and do the new one. But why did Viking think that this was an important thing to do now?
Well, we had an overwhelming response back in 2015 when the Viking Academy had rivers. But since then, we're now up to 102 vessels. We have the ocean, the expedition in the Mississippi, and now there's 4 modules for advisors to promote Viking that goes to 7 continents around the world, and they can become a Viking certified expert.
Do you have to do each one in order to reach that certain level, or if someone's just interested in the expedition piece right now, that's the only piece they have to do?
Yes, they can do little modules. So you can just do the introduction and then the river or the ocean or the expedition. But many of them start doing it and then they get excited and they finish the
Yeah.
whole thing. And there's so much to learn. You'll learn a lot of sales and marketing tips that are really proven for success
Mhm.
to sell Viking on the most popular itineraries, like the rivers, the oceans, and the expedition voyages that we have out there. We keep adding more itineraries, and we're really proud to have this long-standing partnership with the travel advisors. They loved it and said it was one of the best programs that anyone had put together. And it's really for the curious traveler, to promote for the curious traveler.
I really think the other piece that's super important is the geography piece. I A lot of times we don't necessarily know where people are going because our last geography class was probably in high school.
True.
So I really love the idea of being there and really seeing specifically, where are these ships going? Where are the rivers located? And what are you truly going to be able to see? And what can't you see by river? A lot of times our clients assume that you can see everything by a river ship in Europe. You can't see everything. You can see a lot. But I think it's important for the advisor to have that basic knowledge of where are these rivers and what is a client truly going to experience.
Well, we're getting overwhelming testimonials about it. And we've already, it just launched about a month ago. And we have seen thousands of advisors who have
Yeah.
completed the course. And if you haven't registered, make sure you register on the travel agent portal and go to the Viking rewards first, because right now, after you complete it, you're going to earn $100 per booking. It's an incentive that's out there for 30 days after completion.
Wow.
And that's the whole academy. So you want to take each module so that you're able to earn the $100 per booking
Is that on new bookings only or existing?
on new bookings after
Okay.
you complete the course. And then you also receive certification, a certificate of completion. And, people can hang it up or frame it. And then you're also become part of the membership to, as a graduate community for the Viking brand. You can put a little badge on your signature line, which I've seen on
Mhm.
many of the KHM signature lines. So, and it draws people in. People know the brand. I mean, we have 6 times the awareness of other
Right.
people. And when they see that you're an expert, people are like, I'm going to book with her.
So, one of the things that I think is really cool that advisors do a lot with multiple trainings is put it out on social media. Let people know that they're now an expert, that they've been doing this. You've been doing a couple of industry events where agents are there. And one of the things you've been doing with them, which I think is very cool and a great marketing tool, is to do one-on-one videos with them where you just spend like, 2 minutes and you're having kind of a conversation with them wherever. And agents are posting those videos and they're receiving inquiries because of that. So it's that same thing. I know someone and I know something about this product, which I just think is really, really cool. And it's free.
You've seen it. I mean, I did a cruise night with some of your agents, and I mentioned, hey, let's just do a little, not 1 minute video on something that you want me to talk about and promote to you. And I stood right by them and we talked a little bit, and they did post them, and they all were getting bookings, which it made me so happy.
It's
And even on the
amazing.
Crystal Conference, I mean,
Yes.
people were doing videos with me there and they were posting them. So it works. And
Yeah.
people see that you're with a Viking rep and they're like, oh, she knows her. And, to have that partnership, it's important these days. And we can't thank you guys enough for being such a great partner.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, something else that's new is Egypt. Now, I know we've got some agents that are there right now, and I've sent clients there. But you have a new ship on the Nile, which is just this is kind of the new hot destination post COVID. Everyone wants to go.
You know what? You're absolutely right. This week we christened our 4th vessel on the Nile, the Anton, the Viking Anton, and that makes 4 vessels in Egypt. And let me tell you, it's difficult to get on because there are only about
Yeah.
82 guests, and it fills up. And I don't know if you've been following Egypt the last several years, but they keep discovering more and more, opening up tombs and seeing more things that they're digging up. And the new museum's going to be opened
Yes.
up in Giza, and it really is remarkable, and it's really the sister ship to the Osiris, so which is already sailing. So it's an upscale ship. It's probably the most upscale now on the Nile, with the 82 guests and 65 crew.
It's amazing. Well, so get your clients on there because space is going to be limited. All right, let's talk about the 80th anniversary of D-Day, which is remarkable. It's one of those events that is somberly celebrated, and you guys have a special sailing Paris and Normandy in honor of this event. Can you
Well, I
tell me a
feel like
little bit
the
about that?
exactly. I feel like the 75th was just right around the corner, and
I
that was
you know, thank you for saying that because I was like, I feel like we've talked about this before, but it's already 80 years. Yeah.
it's 80 years, and Viking is celebrating their 25th anniversary. And our chairman started the company 25 years ago. He's 80 years old. And, it happened June 5th of 1944. So, honoring those who freed Europe.
Mhm.
And people are interested in that. So Viking got into action. We have 4 ships in France right now that are 168 passengers. So they decided next year, between March and November, we have several itineraries that are put together for 11-night cruise tour, starting in London and ending in Paris with the Normandy beaches.
What a special event. I think that, I'll be very interested to see the feedback on this, the clients that end up booking this itinerary. I just think it's really very special and a really neat way to honor.
Well, I was just talking to 2 past guests, and they want to book the Normandy beaches. And, they wanted to know what beaches we were going to go and see.
Yeah.
And we're going to sail along the Seine, and Utah and Omaha are 2 of them. The Gold and the Sword beaches are a couple more. And then we're also going to have the stories at Juno Beach. So we're really seeing a lot, starting in London with the museums
Mhm.
and all of the things up in London. And then you're going to cruise down and see the beaches, and you're going to witness poignant displays of really inspiring tales of bravery from all these people. And it really is a moving experience.
Mhm. I see tears, lots of tears.
Yes. And, much of the Battle of Britain was fought in South East England, but by the late stages of the war, the base of the operations launched the massive invasion in Normandy.
Mhm.
And that is where, there were 886,000 troops who left their homes to come to the French shores to fight for the liberation of Europe from the Nazi control. And we today, we don't realize how lucky we are to be
Mhm.
where we are.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I can't wait to see how this, grows and the feedback and the response that you get from guests. I think it's really going to be a very neat event and a great way to honor.
Well,
Absolutely a great way
no,
to honor.
I checked the availability before when you said you were going to talk about it. There are already a few dates sold out. It's only been out for like 3 or 4 weeks. And if anybody's interested, the promotion in April is a $25 deposit
Mhm,
down with reduced airfare on these itineraries. So if you want to get a group of people and let people know it's available, sometimes, like you said, Carolyn, get on social media and
yeah,
say, who wants to go to the 80th anniversary of D-Day and experience it on a ship?
mhm. Really very special. So speaking of things that are so special and woohoo for you guys, record sales.
Oh my gosh.
What in the world is going on?
Well, again, I mentioned earlier, we're up to 102 ships starting. Well, next week we'll be christening a new ocean ship in Europe, and that'll be 102 vessels. And we cannot believe we had record-breaking days in January for bookings. And you know what? I know all the advisors were so busy
Yeah.
because we could hardly talk to anybody. Nobody could believe what's happening. I mean, record-breaking in 25 years selling. We have up to 2025 open. And I think that had something to do with this. We have 3 years of product to sell.
I think that's becoming almost an industry norm, right? When you see that you're almost sold out for a year, you don't have a choice but to open up another year because you want to gain. You don't want those clients to forget about you or forget about that dream trip. You want them to book it. So you almost have to say, "Okay, we're going to get ready for that next year because we got to open it so that we don't lose this momentum." But
And the
isn't it
repeat
joyous,
is
Teresa? It just doesn't it make you feel so fantastic that after, crud has just come this onslaught, and even no matter what's going on in the world, inflation, all that, people are still finding it in themselves to travel and experience the world. It makes me so happy.
It does, and we can hardly handle it, bring it on, but we can hardly
Yeah.
handle, all this business, but we're so grateful. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful to be with a company that just keeps going onward and finding new places and things. And, I'm doing these cruise nights and people are lined up to talk to you and say, I've got 2 or 3 booked. I want to go again and
Yeah.
again. So, Viking really is doing something. And once we get them on board, they are loving it.
Well, and I think to finish off the conversation, it's the new things. That's what I think is so interesting. The game changers, right? The new itineraries, the places people haven't thought to go before. And that's what I think is really attracting people is that they are these ships are going to places that they didn't think were possible before.
Yeah,
And they're just loving the idea.
you're absolutely right. I mean, it's new itineraries coming out all the time, with the expedition ships. We're going into the Great Lakes. We've got the longitudinal cruise now, the world cruise where you can, I always say, you don't have to clean, you don't have to
Oh,
cook. You can
yep.
see the world and yeah, so take a look at everything we have. It's amazing.
Well, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to be with us today and share your knowledge and your excitement for the product. And I look forward to seeing you really soon.
Great. Thank you. And learn and earn with our Viking Academy.
Absolutely. I got to get on there.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. You have a great rest of your day and good luck with those cruise nights.
Great. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye bye.
So, you guys, as travel advisors, we are inundated. We are presented with so many fun and educational experiences. And oftentimes it's a challenge to determine which ones we should be a part of and what's the best use of our time and money. So, I sat down with Mr. Bill Coyle, our Vice President of Agent Engagement, last week before he headed off to Cruise 360 to discuss some of the things that you as agents should be thinking about when determining whether or not you should attend an event. Here's what we had to say. Afternoon, everyone, and we are here today. We are pre-recording a little piece for all of you with Bill Coyle, Vice President of Agent Engagement for oh that says industry relations. That is Anita, who unfortunately was sick today. But we're recording with Bill, Vice President of Agent Engagement for KHM Travel Group. We are pre-recording, Bill, because you are heading to an industry event. So we wanted to make sure we got your thoughts before you headed off. But it's been a while since you've been on the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it and look forward to this discussion. It's something that I think is really, really important that you and the team share with our agents about all of our feelings on the events that we can attend during the year.
So we're going to break this down into, events. All of these are in-person events, but we've got events that are hosted by, your host agency or your home agency, however it is that you're working as an advisor. And then we've got, industry events as well. So would you agree that whenever an agent, especially a newer agent to the industry, is looking at their options and their opportunities, would you say that their first place should always be whatever's being provided by their home or their host?
Well, a little selfishly, in particular to our host agency, because I think we have the best events. Yes, regardless, I think that it is important that they consider looking at their host agency or their home agency for their in-person and education events.
I think it just brings it allows you to meet the people that you're working with and also build those relationships within your own company. And I just think those are so important as far as camaraderie, coverage, inside information, and just that overall support. I just feel like that's the place where you're going to receive it and really meet others that work their business the same way you do.
I agree with you. I totally agree. It's kind of a mindset, right?
Mhm.
Like-minded people. And then at KHM, we're very fortunate to gear our education events towards certain levels, right? So as you're growing through the journey, there's definitely an event that you can attend, an education event you can attend, whether it's one day or 4 days that's really going to help you in that journey.
Mhm. So there are so many industry events. There are so many opportunities within
Yeah.
the industry to do so many things. Is there a rule of thumb that you have when it comes to how do you pick something that's going to be the best fit for you and also give you that maximum return on investment?
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you asked. So, of course, as we spoke about, we look at our host agency events. You know, what's geared for us. At KHM, we're very fortunate to have our boot camps, Boot Camp 1.0, 2.0. We're very, when it comes to being prepared for our agents' needs, we have Destination Success, which brings in anywhere from 30 to 50 suppliers annually. We now have a luxury symposium, which is available for them, and then our annual Crystal Conference. And of course, at that time, we recognize you for your accomplishments the year before,
Mhm.
and then we're very blessed to have all of our suppliers with us. So you've got a variety of events that are available from you from this host agency. And I think most other host agencies have these. I just like that we break down our training events, our education events to the level and the journey level that you're at. So then we speak about industry events and then, of course, supplier and consortia events. And I'm a little bit particular to the ones that I like to participate in and recommend for agents, depending
Mhm.
on where they are in their journey. But yes, I'm ready to talk about the industry events and the supplier events as well.
So supplier events, these would be things like either FAMs or specific industry events like Ascend, which is done through Apple Leisure Group, or sometimes there's certain retreats that are with other supplier vendors. There's always value in these events. When would an agent pick this over something else?
There's the idea of, first of all, what is your market? Who is your market, right? So are we leaning toward the cruise industry or are we leaning toward the land? And if it's a mixture of both, that's okay because there's plenty of opportunity there as well. You mentioned Ascend, which is an Apple Leisure Group annual event of extreme training, beneficial training for those products, their online booking engine. What do we need to know about those different companies within ALGV? And you're going to learn all of that there. There's Delta Vacations
Mhm.
University, which is another amazing event, which gives us the most broad understanding of destinations and products within Delta Vacations, World Agent Direct. Um, we also have, oh my goodness, there's so much Edge Conference, which then brings
Mhm.
us to the consortia event, where we're going to learn about those resources that our consortia offers us through KHM and Travel Leaders Network in this case. But I think that we have to decide what's our vision of our business, where is it going, where are our clients taking us, and what's going to be best for us at that time. Research what they offer you and choose based on that. I don't think that we should be all over the board attending every single thing we can.
Mhm.
When it comes to the cruise market, we think about CLIA, Cruise 360, right? That's an excellent certification program that you're going to go and get your certifications as you're there and virtually online. And then there's Cruise World. My opinion, I tend to like Cruise 360 a little bit better because I'm getting certifications when I'm going there. I'm learning
Mhm.
that value of my journey as I'm growing through the cruise industry right then and there.
With Cruise 360, I love that you get not only the site visits, but that educational piece at the same time. And it's all under one roof. And that's
Yes,
unusual to find.
totally agree with
There
you.
there aren't a lot of events that kind of offer you the educational piece, but then the on-site piece as well. And
It's,
I think that's what I'm always looking for.
I
It's
agree with you.
it's always so easy to get caught up in the big flashy lights, right? These events are fun. They've got incredible trade shows. But what I always try to bring it back to is yes, the trade shows are great, but at least for our host agency, are these suppliers that you will ever work with? And who's standing behind that booth? Who's standing behind that table? That relationship is very important. So you want to be with a business development manager and spend time meeting that person and talking with the person who you're going to build that relationship, whether it's in your own state or if it's a host agency business development manager. So that's what I'm always, when we've got these big events that go on other places, it's really, really easy to get caught up in the size of the event and forget about what are we trying to gain from the event? What are we
Yes,
trying to pull from being there?
yes. What's the focus? And
Mhm.
quite often we'll see these events that talk about taking us outside of the venue. We're city exploring, or we're going to the zoo, or we're doing some local thing. For 30 years, I've been attending these events. That was important to me at one time, but now the focus of the actual
Yeah.
event, what's happening, what am I learning, what am I gleaning from that, what's happening in the conference center, is much more important to me than something that's outside of it. So
Right.
it doesn't mean that's good or bad, because there could be pre or post events attached to that, but I go for the learning experience.
Mhm.
Get in, get out. Some
Right.
of us might have extra time to do pre and post, but I think that's important. I love that you mentioned ship inspections that come along with Cruise 360, because, like you say, that's geared for the gamut of information that you can learn from a beginning agent all the way up to an experienced advisor. So there are so many great ones, but I think that I feel like at our host agency, we've narrowed it down to what we feel is critical in your journey, and we've really
Mhm.
geared that toward your learning experience.
Right. And the other thing that I want to make sure that agents know about is that a lot of these larger events do offer scholarships. I don't think a lot of agents know that. And so they go and they pay, but there are many of these events. I think almost all of them have a hosted program, and you apply to it. It's usually for first time goers. And they'll pick up everything from your registration to your registration and your hotel. That's a huge cost savings. Now, it comes with some requirements as far as what you're going to be expected to participate in. But wow, if you're trying to figure out if you should go or how you should go, or, I mean, this, I know ASTA has it. I know Las Vegas Travel Agent Forum had it. I think CLIA Cruise 360 has it with the STAR program. So, um, you know, do your research. Look at those event schedules, look at the purpose, what you're going to gain from the event, and then see if there's an opportunity for a scholarship.
I love that you said that. I think that's important. One of the other advantages is sometimes if you're not too familiar, or you're not sure if you qualify for them, someone at your host agency can help you figure out what's best for you. In this case, quite often I get asked to write a letter of
Mhm.
acknowledgement or sponsorship for that agent, because maybe they don't qualify for that, but we know they're going in that direction, or they came from another agency that we know that they have sales and they need help getting there. So I agree with you. I love that scholarship idea. And then we think about, the international idea when we start to grow into the Europe market or the South Pacific market, about in-destination training. Think about Hawaii training.
Right.
We can do all that Hawaii training virtually, but then when we get to do all of that, we're finished with that. Now we can be invited to be in destination with our training, so that it helps us even explore our options better.
Right. So it really is spending time looking at your goals, looking at your focus for the year, and figuring out which events should I choose. And all of it has to do with where your goals and what are you missing? What are the missing
Yes.
pieces? I
Yeah.
had this conversation with an agent yesterday. She was trying to decide on two events, and I said, "Well, tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you're missing." And then I can help figure out which event is best for you, because everything is great, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
There's a reason to attend everything. It's just a matter of, is that reason the right reason for you?
Correct. And we could, as agents, we shouldn't just look at this year and that's it, right? Let's plan this out for a 3 to 5 year, because
Right.
these events have been going on for a long time. Maybe I do one event or two events this year. Next year, I do the other one or two
Mhm.
that I couldn't do this year. And
Right.
I love that as the growth pattern goes along.
I did have an agent tell me, that was the Asta River Cruise Expo, and she went last year, and she was tempted to go again this year, and she said, "Well, I didn't meet my goal
Ah,
for selling the product."
excellent.
So this year. So I decided I wouldn't go this year, but my goal is to go next year. So if I sell this between now and the sign up period, then I will allow myself to go. And I thought, what a responsible decision,
Yes. Yes.
because when you go to these things, you're hoping, and so is the supplier, quite frankly, that you're going to go back and sell the product. So if you don't sell the product, should you really allow yourself to go and do the next thing or something similar, if that hasn't worked for you? Maybe you need to
Totally.
look back at your sales and see what is it you are selling,
Yes.
and seek out an event that's going to
And do I have the
Right.
clientele for this?
Yeah.
Not maybe now, but in the future. Plus,
Mhm.
we have to take advantage of the time that we're there from a social media perspective, right? As we teach our agents, Carolyn, it's like while you're there, let them know that you're there and what you're
Yep.
learning so that they're seeing that, oh my goodness, I thought you only sold this product or this destination. You're now going here. That's
Right.
something I want to think about for the future.
Right. Well, I think it's a lot for agents to think about. It's an ongoing conversation, but I think we gave them a good starting point. Enjoy Cruise 360 this coming weekend and next week, and hopefully Anita's feeling up to it.
Yeah,
She's been
yeah.
going to a lot of events, so that's why she isn't joining us today, everyone. But I know you guys will have a great time. Please say hello to all the agents for us, and thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Carolyn.
Thank you. Just a little bit of a technical glitch there, no problem, but I hope you gained some really good insight into what event is great for you. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you to our overall sponsor, Apple Leisure Group. You guys, next week we have Mike Julius, Vice President of U.S. Sales for Carnival Cruise Line, and our own Sammy and Sarah from the marketing team, who will be talking about social media trends ahead of their fantastic social media fam happening on the Carnival Horizon in May. Thanks so much for being here, you guys. Happy selling. See you next week.